All right, recording the second one. This is emergency equipment. I think I got it successfully to record, and I got my face over here on top of the slides. Are you all seeing my slides now?
Yep.
Okie doke, we'll just do it this way so I don't have to mess with a delay or anything. So we're going to talk real quick about all the emergency exits, location, operation. Your O2 systems are those are probably the majority of the numbers that you have to memorize for this coming quiz. By the way, in case I haven't mentioned it before, don't forget tonight is another quiz. So by midnight tonight, it's due. If you need an extension or you've already previously coordinated one, that's fine. What you have to do if you have an extension from me is make sure after you submit the quiz and it takes the automatic penalty, you send me an email because I have to go in and remove it manually. So just so you know. All right. We're going to talk about all this stuff. Unfortunately, I'm so sorry we can't do hands-on drills today. It's a lot of fun. I say that tongue-in-cheek because it's really not a lot of fun. We had to jump out of all the doors. The only one they didn't let us do, of course, as I mentioned, was climbing out the swing hatch in the flight deck. I was like, come on, guys. You're going to tell me there's an exit up there, and we have to climb out of it and rappel down the front of the airplane, and nobody ever practices this.
It's super cool, too.
Yeah, it's
when we were in San Francisco, I didn't know that the windows at the front of the plane could open, and like one of the pilots like from JetBlue like literally just opened the window and started talking to us while we were on the ramp. Like he just was like leaning out that window, and I was like, what? Like I did not realize those just opened.
You gotta have the ability to yell at your ground control people if they're not on headset. Those are called swing windows. And in the C-130, they were just big enough for a full-grown person to get out. So we actually had to practice egressing out of them, which was a very exciting and hilarious. Some of the flight engineers, they couldn't do it. So it was either that or over the hatch, the escape hatch, because in the event of a water ditching, sometimes your doors are below water. You can't open them, the typical emergency exits. So the overhead escape hatch, we had two. There was one in the flight deck and there was one in the cargo compartment for our passengers with a ladder. That kind of thing would not fly in the civilian airliner industry. Like, hey, grandma, climb the ladder and get out the top escape hatch and somehow get yourself off the wing. Good luck. We could say that to Army guys, though. So anyway, we're going to talk about oxygen. Oxygen on the flight deck, it's liquid oxygen, and oxygen back for the flight attendants and passengers is like they call it self-release oxygen masks and chemical oxygen generators, because it's not what I would consider real. It's breathable and it'll keep them alive and awake, but you as the pilots have to function a lot higher and get the airplane on the ground, so you have an actual kind of like a scuba tank type oxygen applied by liquid oxygen. PBE again will keep you alive, but it's not something you want to breathe. Oh, your guitar music. Is that me?
Jam sesh.
What's that?
Jam sesh right now.
Okay. That's fine. Whatever, I'm done teaching then. So emergency exit, as you guys have seen in the CVTs, of course, I'm sure you've just poured over the CVTs now. That's the biggest thing you're going to have to do is finish that. You know that the 900 has two window exits with a lifeline in row 13. The CRJ 900, two window exits row 14. So yeah, row 13 and 14 for the CRJ 900, and then row 12 for the 700. This, as I've mentioned, I think before, I feel like I've mentioned this, the galley service door is pretty high. I think it's 6'3", and jumping out of it can be quite painful. So you might want to take the disabled and the elderly and the small children and make sure that they get out of the other side, the main passenger door with steps. Even someone large could hurt themselves trying to jump out of a 6'3" window. So you got two independent oxygen systems that I've mentioned already. You will be asked that. The portable oxygen systems for basically if the flight attendants have to fight a fire. In this one, what we call in the Air Force the quick dawn. In the Civilian Airlines, they're called the crew oxygen mask. That's the other weird thing is they didn't make those people actually put them on. It's quite the endeavor.
So cool. It's so cool. It
I'm-
like you like put it and it like to your
Yeah.
face.
Actually, I wouldn't call it cool or comfortable, but
No, it's cool.
yeah.
If you've ever donned a mask before, it's cool.
And this right here, folks, this is why having a beard is not allowed in the Air Force. I mean, not in the Air Force, not in the civilian airlines. This is because of the seal around your face that this oxygen mask needs in order to work properly. I believe you can get a waiver for certain conditions of the face, like severe acne. I've heard that before. But basically, you're wearing your headset and you pull it forward and it snaps onto your face over your headset. And then what's the really, really important step?
Breathe.
That is actually the most important step. What's the second most important step after you don one of these things?
Oh, don't you have to turn it on? No, it usually turns on automatically. There's like a switch, I feel like, though.
Yeah.
The yellow blinking switch, whatever.
Yeah, to make sure it's working.
No, that is to test the equipment for, you can see the blanking switch going back and forth. That's to see there is oxygen flow. But no one will be able to hear your comms unless you take the mask boom switch to mask. So your normal position will be boom. Your boom will be up when you have this thing on, and it's got a microphone in it. Not exactly the best microphone in my experience, so kind of difficult to work with that. But oxygen bottle is for the crew 50 cubic feet, and it's normally charged 1850 at 70 degrees Fahrenheit. That's what it is. It varies. If you go higher or lower in temperature, the PSI will change a little bit. Remember this number. So 1850, 2800. I don't care that you know it's 50 cubic feet or 70 to 94 PSI. I do not care. But from your homework, who's done their homework today or yesterday? Jack, are you there? Are you still there, Jack? He's not.
Yeah, I'm here.
So remember we discussed that it's only in the CVTs. What's the low that will give you the oxygen low pressure light?
You said 1410.
Yeah, there you go. There's your number. So those are the three numbers: 1850 for normal, 1410 for low, and 2800 PSI.
Real quick, I want to show you guys. So here's a video. It's really loud, but here's. Oh wait.
Because of your background, Elle.
Wait, I have to show you of him. How do I turn off my virtual background?
I don't know.
It's
I don't-
important. Trust me, this is
Bottom
important.
left corner, click the up arrow, and then go to video settings and disable your virtual background.
It's maximized it so it's watching the recording.
Do you just like see the pilot just chilling, just hanging out of literally the window?
Yeah,
Yeah, fun times, fun.
it's nothing crazy. I used to use that all the time when the weather was nice outside.
And then here's the quick don mask. If it will play.
Oh, you got to play with those?
Oh, we got the whole like an Airbus A321 to ourselves for like 4 hours, like with a captain.
I will tell you this, Elle. That one that you had on is a whole lot nicer than the ones that Mesa
Yeah.
or really any regional airline. It's these are kind of the podunk ones. Old and
So cool. They're literally like you just like I don't know if you guys can hear it compressing and decompressing like onto your face. Like
Oh,
once you like release the button, it like sucks in and like holds onto your face.
that's very fancy. This one you have to kind of clamp it down. I mean, it will suck on a little bit, but
Kobe can testify. Kobe, weren't you there? Yes.
I was, yes.
Weren't
Yes,
those
it
cool?
was pretty cool.
It was so cool.
so another weird difference between civilian airliners and any military airplane or jet that you fly. Notice I say airplane or jet because C-130s are airplanes, but they're not jets. Every single flight, you have to pull the quick don, put it on, test the comms, test the oxygen flow, and put it back. In the airlines, your pre-flight consists of looking at it, make sure it's there.
It
Uh,
probably works pretty well.
Yeah, and that's, yeah, exactly. So you're going to get these enunciators if the oxygen is low, but this oxygen quantity table, in case you guys were wondering about this slide, this is a company specific thing. So every company you work with who flies CRJs could have a different number. So it's just a Mesa-ism. Don't memorize this for any quiz. 4 PBE units are required to provide 15-minute supply at 8,000 feet. Flight deck duties and in-flight fire. They're terrible. They pull your hair out. I had to put one on. Passenger oxygen system, because 13-minute supply of oxygen for them really just gives you enough time to fly and approach and get on the ground. Okay. Oxygen lavatory, there's actually a lav compartment for the oxygen. I wouldn't worry about it too much, just in case someone's stuck in the bathroom. Automatic deployment controlled by the cabin pressurization system here. And then
What if
you
there's 2 people in the bathroom? Like, what if you're like in there with like a child?
I don't,
Oh, a child.
Sorry, no, I didn't mean like
I'm sorry, what else could you possibly
All
mean?
right.
I meant when you are young, you did
First
not
one.
go to the bathroom alone. Your mom took you to the bathroom, even on the airplane.
Of course, that's what you meant. Yes, if I had my child, I would leave. I would go out to the back row, and if necessary, elbow a stranger to death and grab the oxygen mask and put it in my daughter.
And just like, oh, okay, just leave your child. You're supposed to do yourself first, though, Michelle.
Oh yeah, that's right. Of course, yeah, obviously. So anyway, moving on. You guys, I'm recording this, for God's sake. This is going on YouTube. Passenger oxygen system is, yeah, back to that. Controlled by the cabin pressurization. So there's 2 ways to deploy those masks. You can either push the pass oxy switch light, or of course the cabin pressurization. Over what altitude, everyone? When does this drop? When do these
14,000.
14.
There you go. Beautiful. So remember those numbers, 14,000. ELT
Is that because of the
goes up-
reg?
What's that?
Is that because of the regulation,
Yes.
like of the oxygen and whatnot? That are, like, you know.
Or
Okay.
say you've just taken off and you experience an electrical fire and the entire cabin fills with smoke. Even though you're not at 14,000 feet, you push this button here and pop, out comes all the oxygen masks. Make yourself a quick close pattern, get the gear back down and land. ELT activates with 5 to 7 lateral Gs. I believe I asked you that in the quiz. So you get 4 halon fire extinguishers. This is where they are. It's really more important to know where they are when you're actually flying the airplane. So not too many questions on where locations. The doghouse is row 4 left side in the CRJ and then aft bulkhead. So
What is dog? What does that mean?
why they call it the doghouse, I've forgotten exactly. There was some explanation that I've forgotten, but and then you've got the waste compartment, 2 halon fire extinguishers, so forward and aft lavs.
But what's in the doghouse? Sorry, I'm still confused.
You're making me remember what they told me at the doghouse. I think you know where the usually the first class area, the front section. I think a little section where you can put things like coats. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's where it is. I remember them showing it to us.
Whoever's like watching a video or talking to someone, can you please mute yourself?
PBTs or something. So mute yourself. Here's the nozzle, the trigger. You've got a disconnect bracket here. It's pretty easy to use. Pretty much point and shoot. Obviously, don't shoot at the top of the flames. Shoot at the base of the flames to put them out. Life vests. You got a flight deck, left and right, jump seat, and flight attendant stations. Here's what they are. You guys are pretty familiar from just being passengers. And in your training, you'll get to put them on, take a
The
look at.
bag will not inflate. Do not be concerned. There is air flowing through them.
Yes, exactly. Well, I'm looking at the life vests right now, which at best you will make sure you blow them up after you get out of the airplane, or you're gonna have a hard time emergency evacuating. Expect people to screw that up when they're panicked. So be prepared as the pilot to coach people through an evacuation if you ever experience this. It's very important that you stay calm. It's very important that you are very directive. I'd be good at this. You, that way. You, that way. You know, things like that. I would be very, very careful with your passengers, like I said, going out the galley service door entrance. As far as flight deck and cabin emergency equipment, here's all this other stuff that you have, including AED, which has medical instructions on the inside of it. Heaven forbid a pilot be out of the seat doing that. Let's hope we have a passenger who's a doctor or something. And then the crash
We're
acts.
not allowed to. We're actually not allowed to leave the cockpit if there's a medical emergency.
Oh, well, there you go.
Like Professor Carr said that you will never leave. Like even if like you are a doctor, you will not leave because it could be like a ruse to get into the cockpit.
Oh, yeah. That's actually a great, in the civilian airlines, that makes a lot of sense. It could be a ruse. Have I got on my soapbox yet about the crash acts and how I almost failed a check, or not failed, but I got dinged on a check ride for not knowing where it was?
No.
I was kind of mad about it, but in retrospect, I understand. The guy who I had a flight instructor who was in the unit of that C-130 who fell in the hole in the runway in Iraq. And one of the things that he always asked new co-pilots when they got to the squadron, where's the crash axe? Pick it up, show me how you would use it, where would you chop, things like that. There's weak points that go out of the fuselage where you can chop. Other points, you try to chop them, you're going to hit a line or a tube or pulleys or something like that inside. So there will be a place where you're supposed to chop if you need to exit the aircraft and all the doors are unusable. That's what the crash axe is for. That, or, you know, fending off panicked passengers. I kid. Here's your PBEs. There's a number associated with the PBEs. Somebody tell me what it is. Just went over it. How long do they give you?
Oh, 10
15 minutes.
15 minutes.
15 minutes. Good job. 10 minutes is for what? What was the 10 minute?
batteries.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, cool. You guys are pretty much set for the quiz. As far as the power, and right here is the power supply on your rechargeable 6-volt battery packs. This is the same slide basically talking about emergency lights. Here's your 2 cautions. Passenger oxy on. So you want to see this when you've intentionally deployed the masks. You want to make sure you do get this caution. If you get this caution without intentionally deploying the masks, you want to check your pressurization system because something is malfunctioning. It probably either thinks you're at 14,000 feet or you are not pressurizing. That would be a very good indication that you should put your oxygen mask on and descend. Oxygen low pressure, the crew bottle just doesn't have the preset safe value. Mesa Airlines is 1410. Then we do hands-on drills. This thing, you can kill someone with this mag light, it's so heavy. Here's your kit of emergency equipment like first aid. There's your walk-around fire bottle. I think this right here is the doghouse. I'm not sure. I can't remember.
Okay.
It's been too long since I went through that training.
But
That's
it's row 4. Doghouse was on row 4.
I know. That's what they
That's
said.
the front. That's not a row.
That must not be it then. But this is where I remember them being. It's like a right to the side of where the flight attendant sits. Okay. And then flight attendants do have their own oxygen masks. There's the AED. Unfortunately, flight attendants, though they're crew, they don't get the benefit of having real oxygen. Not sure why they're showing this picture. There's one there. That might be the doghouse. Might be below.
I think it was the lights. I think for the seats.
Oh, is that why they're showing this video?
I have no idea. I just thought it was.
That's probably what it is. Okay. Sometimes I scratch my head like, why is this picture in the video? It's like the 3rd time. There's another section there. Looks like a little door. And then get you 2 exits. Obviously, this is a CRJ 900. Okay, and then here's a quick look at how to open these doors. You won't be operating these ones, but the flight attendants will. They come in, type doors. And this is the life.
Throw them out. You just like throw the doors out.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I
Like, where did you put the door?
prop it up against the empty seats behind you or throw them out, whatever works, however you get them out. This thing, I don't know. I have to laugh.
Deploy the slides.
What's that?
Did you get to deploy the slides?
What slides?
Like the slides that would come off of like, well, there aren't any on like a CRJ, but like, have you ever deployed slides?
We don't have slides either. CRJ doesn't have slides because they put all the doors to just the limit where the
Okay.
FAA doesn't require them. We didn't have slides. We had boats. So we had handles up in the ceiling of the flight deck where if I pulled the handle, all 4 of my life rafts would pop out and inflate themselves. Do you know how tempting it was?
Fold the hand.
Boom! You know, but no, you're supposed to do that after you ditch. No, I had no slides. People were they're just gonna do a quick PLF. You know what a PLF is, right?
No.
Parachute landing fall. Feet and knees together, roll. But seriously, if you're ever gonna jump from a really high height or you're falling, I know this is stupid to give you this tip, but hey, it may apply to you if you're hiking or something. Say you're falling, put your feet and your knees together. You're much less likely to break something or permanently damage your knee joint. Yeah, all right, what else are we looking at? That's the oxygen panel. When you open it up, this is where you look at your gauge. You do pre-flight that one. Make sure the blowout disc isn't gone. This is something that has happened at Mesa. Just means there was an overpressure if it's missing. Okay. Turn it back to maintenance. Figure out what's wrong. What are we looking at here, anyone?
Oxygen.
Battery.
No, that's your quick dawn. So this is where it's
Oh.
stowed. It's stowed in this weird little panel. Nobody ever uses it, which is crazy to me, but when you pull it out, it looks like this. Great photos, huh?
He looked like Ryan Gosling. That was kind of weird.
Go back to the first one. Wait, go back to the one where you think he does not look like Ryan Gosling.
He glanced. To me at least. I don't know.
You guys are
That's
so funny. They're not as fancy as your fancy Airbus ones that suck to your thing. It's just a spring-loaded thing. It kind of hurts. I won't lie to you. You want to get on the ground quickly when you have this on. For other reasons as well, but it also.
I mean, with the Airbus ones, you just want to sit there and like breathe. It's kind of fun.
It does make you feel good. The oxygen.
No urgency at all.
I've been known. I'm gonna stop the recording before I tell you what we used to do with our oxygen masks.
Oh god.
Question?
Nope.
Okay, let me stop this recording.